and take notes while I take totes of the marijuana smoke. Community. What is good is your boy, the Bearded Wonder. I don't know if you just heard the whispering mellow sounds of the late great notorious B.I.G. We do not own the rights to said music, so I had to make that disclaimer, of course. But yeah, it's taking notes with the Bearded Wonder. It's your boy, the Bearded Wonder, coming to you from YouTube Live. Part of the Black in Business podcast. And of course, the Black in Business podcast is brought to you by Designer Custom Glasses, One Empire Mobile Studios, and the Next Page LLC. If you need to catch up with us, you can get up with us on Facebook at Black in Business, or check us out on IG at Black_in_business, or you can get in touch with us the old-fashioned way through snail mail, and known as Gmail. And then we can be found at blackandbusinesspodcast@gmail.com if you want to get onto the show, or if you have a guest idea, if you have a topic idea, we are wide open for that. I'm, of course, looking forward, as usual, every week coming at you live, one-on-one. Today's topics are current events. We're going to talk about our boy, Nick Cannon, and him getting ousted from Viacom Communications for said transgressions, which I have some sound bites. So we will be able to delve into that a little bit. Also, I'm talking about Black Love. Yeah, Black Love, perception versus reality. It's something we're going to talk about. And no, this ain't OJ, or not just OJ. Yeah, I'm bougie. That's an emotion. But anyway, moving on. You know, I gotta have my drink, going, of course. And so we're gonna talk about Black Love, perception versus reality, and my take on that, and we'll listen to some sound bites on that. And then lastly, but not leastly, sports. I'm a sports head. You guys know this. You signed up for it, so welcome. I'm going to talk sports and some allegations surrounding the Washington football team, and what I have heard. So, community, this is where I get a chance to delve into my feelings, my bag, stand on my soapbox, whatever the case may be. That's what taking notes is about. You're more than welcome to chime in on the chat anytime. So I will get, to your comments on the live. If you happen to catch the replay, hey, tough luck. For sure. You're gonna have to catch us on the next live. We'll be coming up at you next week, hopefully Monday or Tuesday next week. Might do a double header next week, but we'll get to that at the end of said program. I don't want to hold you guys up too long. So I'm going to jump in right away to Nick Cannon and his ousting from Viacom, and what was, what he said in his interview with Professor Griff, somewhat making anti-Semitic remarks, and or so it seemed. And I throw that twist at you because like I said, I have the sound bite, and I'll throw those at you, during this discussion, and get your takes on that as well. But there's about a couple of minutes, maybe 5 minutes total of what Nick Cannon said out of the entire hour and a half interview with Professor Griff. I went back and researched the whole interview, and I found in the first 12 to 15 minutes where the opportunist jumped in and got a chance to say, oh, Professor Griff and Nick Cannon are anti-Jew, anti-white, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of things that transpire in this interview, and you can just look it up on YouTube, basically, and just type in Nick Cannon's full interview with Professor Griff. That's exactly how I looked it up, and it was one of the first or second ones. And I went through, I listened to it. I didn't get the full hour and a half. I will admit that, but I did get a chance to listen to a very large portion of it. And I'm going to play a little soundbite from that, and you guys go ahead, chime in on the chat. Let me know what you think, and why I feel that Nick Cannon was wrongfully ousted to a degree. And this is the soundbite from the interview. About a good minute or so, maybe.
He had set up a talk with a rabbi. Right. This is recent. Right. So, and I'm in front of a room full of Jewish people. Right. And I'm asking basic questions, and maybe you can help me out. Right. Let's look up the word anti-Semitic. Right. Who are the Semitic people? And then we're going to get to the public enemy thing. Right. So I looked up who is the Semitic people, and there's a list of Semitic people, and anyone can do this right now. You can look up who are the Semitic people, what are the Semitic languages. Right. Has absolutely nothing to do with any white people. Right. Not at all. So in order for me to be anti-Semitic, I'd have to be anti-black man, anti-black woman, anti-black people, anti-Africa, anti-all of the people, because the Semitic people are black people. So,
wow. So that was Professor Griff talking about Semitism and the Semites and where they came from and originated from. Which, if you know your history or know basic geography, at one point, um, Africa was definitely connected to the Middle East before the fissures and the world became what we know now. Due to evolution of the earth and earthquakes and tectonic shifting, etc., etc. I'm a little bit of a geek. Actually, I'm a little bit of an earth community, which isn't a bad thing. But anyway, nonetheless, he was kind of going back and explaining that, and he was in a room full of Semitic people, Jewish people, and made these claims. So basically, he's saying the original person looks like me, is black, or of African American or African descent, basically. So this is where that funny line is being drawn now. I can see why Nick Cannon was ousted from Viacom. Professor Griff is very controversial. If you don't know anything about him, again, use YouTube. YouTube University is real. Just punch in Professor Griff, and there'll be a list of different like podcasts and interviews that he's had. He's a very controversial guy. So I mean, not everything that he says I agree with. So let's start there. I'm not advocating for everything that he says, or I'm not a huge Professor Griff fan, et cetera, et cetera. Not an extremist. So I'm just saying, like, do your homework and make your own judgment, pass your own judgment on the information that is being disseminated to you and how it's being disseminated. So Professor Griff definitely explains where these people come from, and of course, as you know, the infamous Nick Cannon quotes of saying, "Salute, welcome into taking notes. What's up, Z?" Um, but of course, the biggest thing that went viral was Nick Cannon's, I guess, outrage or his rant, if you will, in terms of white people being savages and uh, that kind of thing. Do I think he should have lost his job for what he said? No. I mean, he was exercising his freedom of speech. I mean, granted, I know this a multi-billion-dollar company. Viacom being a multi-billion-dollar company, I understand it. I get it. I'm not dumb, naive, or blind to that fact. But I mean, he was exercising his free speech and his right to express himself. That's how he felt. That's how he feels. I mean, you could have fined him. You could have very well just maybe taken him off the air for a couple weeks, whatever. But one of the things I do know and have gotten to know, especially now I've gotten a little older and gotten to understand life as it is. Nick Cannon isn't that corny dude we used to know that used to walk around singing Gigolo and was in a whole bunch of like B-list movies. Now this dude he's educated, he's smart, and he has a good business sense. Um, the whole thing Nick Cannon out here, broke. I mean, and you got babies with Mariah Carey. You got that move. That's a whole nother ball game, a whole nother topic, and that's something we can bring up on another day. Celebrity dating, that'll be fun. But anyway, nonetheless, Nick Cannon you know, I don't see everything that he said as wrong, and where I see where some of that is wrong is um, the fact that he called all white people savage. It's fucking false as shit. My grandmother, white lady, little white lady. But if she saw that it was somebody of color or not, it didn't matter. If it was just an injustice or if there was just a coup in the wrong direction, she would be front and center, just doing what was right and admirable. And I never met this woman. These are the stories that were told to me from by my granddad, my mom, and my aunt. So these particular stories are, very close, and they hold merit to me. I don't think my family will lie to me about something like that. So I don't agree with his, take on that all white people are savages. I think that he has a point with in terms of ideologies. Now, a lot of the ideologies are a little savage, and I mean, just take a look at leadership in the White House right now. The person's name that no people of color or person of color is going to repeat, so we're just going to say 45, um, is out here doing. So that is a savage way of thought, to be perfectly honest. So I mean, what do you think, community? Nick Cannon getting canned from Viacom. That was the first segment that I dove into. If you hadn't looked at the topic before you jumped in, we're going to talk about Black Love. It's going to be perception versus reality. Of course, I'm talking about Nick Cannon being canceled from Viacom, and then I'm going to talk sports because that's what I do. But more so surrounding the Washington football team. Um, and then I'll go further into some more sports stuff. But nonetheless, that's where I am. Nick Cannon being canceled on from Viacom, and I gave a little soundbite of Professor Griff explaining who the Semites were and where they originated from, which is basically um, what we now know as the Middle East and northeastern Africa. Um, when it was all conjoined before it spread apart, and we had shifts, and it geographically became, almost impossible to get to. So yeah, put a little soundbite. Like I said, I personally don't think he should have got canned, but I think I don't feel bad for Nick Cannon at all. He's a smart dude. He'll get on his feet. He still has money. Um, and I think he'll figure out a way to make more money. Diddy actually invited him to join Revolt. I think that's Diddy's production company or TV thing. Once he got canned from Viacom, that was within maybe a week or two. Also, because I am on a new platform on YouTube, I'm in a location where it's perfectly legal for me to ingest and partake in marijuana. So please don't shut us down or come try to kick in my door because it's just legal. I'm in the comfort of my own domicile. I'll leave that at that. But yeah, then I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on to Black Love, and I'm gonna start a little backwards. Of course, you can go back at any time, replay the video, or replay the video and you can put your comments in. And then we'll definitely give you a shout out on the next video or contact you directly. I guess I don't know. We'll figure that part out. Haven't gotten that far. Anyway, Black Love, perception versus reality. So, human nature. This is just human nature as a whole. We all have a desire. We all have a need, and we all have a fulfillment to be loved by someone, um, whether it be another man, whether it be another woman, whether it be man and woman, etc., so on and so forth. Just to be politically correct and not get canceled on my second show. Uh, perception versus reality. We have a ideal picture of what we want our relationship to be. Those of us that would like to get married one day, what our future mate may be or want our future mate to be. Either, we want them to be successful, good looking, whatever successful is, doesn't necessarily have to be, a billionaire or they have to have a lot of money or a lot of material, but, they could be, pretty much, saving the world somehow, whatever, volunteering at a homeless shelter. If that's something that makes you successful and you being that successful in your eyes, by all means, salute. Not mad at it. Um, but we all have this vision of what we want our mate to be, ideal mate to be, and the reality of it is, it doesn't always work out that way. Um, we look at a lot of celebrity marriages, and I'm going to use the next marriage as my prime example of perception and reality at the same time. Um, one particular couple been in the news recently. If you haven't heard about it, been underneath some type of rock, mountain, or in an abyss or a black hole of some sort. But Will and Jada and August Alsina, this whole triangle, entanglement is what it was called. That is both perception and reality. The perception is that Will and Jada have a strong marriage and that they are, happily married. Um, let me go a little deeper into that perception. Number one, both of their occupation is to entertain. They are actors slash entertainers because Will can rap and sing or whatever, and Jada's an actor. Dre from Brooklyn, salute. Glad you're here. Welcome to taking notes. I hope you got your pen and pad, bro, because I'm dropping nuggets. I have to go back. I'll do a recap in a little bit. Anyway, Will and Jada and August. Getting into that. The perception is, Will and Jada have this strong marriage. And like I was saying, they're both entertainers. They're both paid to entertain and act and sing and dance and whatever it is they need to do to fulfill whatever role needs to be fulfilled for whatever part that they have. Okay, so I'm gonna start there. The next point um, is that they also have longevity. They have children together. They've been together for forever. That's what we want. That's what we all want out of our marriage or out of our relationship or long term relationship. We want to have that sustainability and that stability, period. That's just what we want. We deserve that. We need that. That's part of the human condition. That's part of love. That's part of self love. That's part of giving parts to yourself. Now, I don't know if you guys recall that once Jada and Will got married, the very beginning of their marriage, it was a little rocky, a little off. Um, and Will had discussed them having an open marriage. So let's start there. We forget about this because that was long, long ago. So there was an open marriage agreement between these two. That's their marriage. They do what they want. No monogamy included. So hey, they can do whatever they want. They're married. Nobody thought the lesser of it or thought anything of it at that time, nor in this particular instance. I'm bringing it up because no one is thinking about this in this particular instance. Um, and then we have this whole blow up of Jada and August being entangled and being in an affair, and it became public when August said something. So I mean, pull your skirt down, bro. And so I'm just saying. Anyway, um, so that went down and that came out because things were said. So now remember, I'm still talking about perception, a perception of a happy, healthy relationship. And this is the reality aspect of this perception. The perception is that we want longevity, stability. Will and Jada have this set up, and everything's a go. They've not been in the news up until now about infidelity or anything like that. The reality is, we forgot. We as the public forgot that they have an open marriage, or it was agreed that they have an open marriage. Um, the problem was the third party got a little more into his feelings, in my opinion, and basically skipped the non-disclosure agreement to not say anything. Because as you know, Will did a movie called Hitch, and him and Eva, from what I understand, definitely got a little steam. They did blind eye and deaf eared it because there was an NDA in there somewhere because they have a what open marriage. So the reality of that is that they don't have a perfect marriage or what we think is an ideal setup. You got to understand that's their business. What they do is what they do. I'm not knocking it. I love both Will and Jada as entertainers. And as far as I know, their philanthropical work. I think I said that so wrong, and I'm sorry. I butchered it. Fuck it. Been drinking. Um, and their outreach in their respective communities to a degree, of course. So I'm not going to knock them for that for being people. Um, but what we have to understand is that we do have a perception of what we think, love should be and how we should be loved and how our marriages and relationships should form. Um, and I'm also going to throw in, just on a personal note, because this is a part of taking notes, it's basically my soapbox, but also with some structure. But I definitely was not or am not perfect or ideal. There's been a few times I've not been a good mate, and it's largely due to not communicating or not um, just being forthright and honest. Yeah, I mean, no, I've been through shit and I put people through shit. And you know what I'm saying? It fucks with you for sure. Because you never want to really truly bring harm to anybody. So when you do, you gotta work through it. For sure, definitely. They're a married couple. They're a married couple, just like the rest of us, and go through what married people go through. I agree. Drake and Brooklyn, salute, appreciate that. Only difference they're celebrities in their lives in the public eye. Absolutely. Now that's why I brought up possibly an NDA being involved. And if you don't know what an NDA is, it's a non-disclosure agreement. It's basically like if you do something, you got to shut the fuck up, can't say nothing to anybody about it. That's it. You break that NDA, I can come after you for royalties, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever legal jargon mumbo jumbo is in it, I'm entitled to it. So that's basically, I think, what happened was a non-disclosure agreement was broken by one August Alsina, and basically broke the non-disclosure agreement with Will and Jada's open marriage. Because I listened to the whole table talk, and from what I understand, just before Jada came out with the entanglement quote that is so viral now, they were on a hiatus. They were on a break. Will and Jada had separated amicably, um, and they needed time apart. And Will came to her and was like, basically, you're not happy. You need to go figure out what makes you happy. And she said, same for you. You need to go figure out what makes you happy. I still love you. We're still married. There's nothing wrong with that, but we're gonna go our separate ways, do our own thing, and we'll, reconvene in 45 days, whatever their setup was. But she does explain that in the beginning of the table talk. Now, also, my disclosure is, I said at the very beginning of this topic, is that they're both paid to entertain. So, how much of this is really true? How much of this really, how much of that can we really take at face value? To be perfectly frank. Again, perception versus reality in Black love. We perceive a perfect marriage, or what we think a perfect marriage is. I use Will and Jada as an example, because they have longevity, they have children together. Seems like they have a happy marriage. And then the reality is all this Alcina stuff. And that's basically the reality of um, what some Black love is. Now, there's a flip side. I've actually seen non-celebrity um, Black couples. I know a few people who just recently celebrated like 25 years of marriage. Phenomenal. That's all. I hope they get 25 more. It's some that got 20 and 21 and 13 and 10. I've seen some double digit, marriages with Black couples with people that I know personally, and that's phenomenal. That's fucking awesome. I aspire to be like that one day. Definitely for sure. I just got to find, who's right for me. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I also have to make sure that I'm happy with myself first. I got to start there. Start yourself. This is the one time being selfish is actually acceptable. When you're trying to take care of yourself and you're trying to love on yourself. Um, so yeah, perception versus reality in Black love. And I'll do a little brief recap. In case you missed the first 10 minutes of taking notes with the Bearded Wonder, I went on to talk about Nick Cannon being dismissed from Viacom, and I played a soundbite from him and his interview with Professor Griff. I actually played a clip of Professor Griff. It's about a minute long. You can actually look it up on YouTube. Just type in Nick Cannon's full interview with Professor Griff. It's one of the first or second ones up. You see, it's about an hour and a half long in totality. So you see 129 and some change. That's the right one. Go with that. There's nobody talking through it. There's nobody giving their expert analysis on it. It's not, that kind of thing. It's just a straight up interview. So yeah, I played that, and then I was into my second topic, which is Black Love, perception versus reality. I used Will and Jada's Entanglement as an example of both. So it was a twofer, a double header, if you will. I went ahead and did that for you guys in the community. And I'm just gonna wait and see if I can get some comments on those, and I'll go on to my next topic. Talk about that. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to also pay some bills. Of course, this is taking notes with the Bearded One, brought to you by the Black and Business Podcast. The Black and Business Podcast, of course, is brought to you by Designer Custom Glasses, One Empire Mobile Studios. I don't know how I remembered that one. And the Next Page LLC. You can catch up with us on Facebook. Black and Business is the Facebook page. Look us up. Appreciate Black Power. That's us. I'll let you boys. You can get up with us, of course, on IG. It's blackn_business on Instagram, IG, boom, boom, boom. Got you there. Or you can get in touch with us on email, which is blackandbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. So yeah, I'm gonna wait on some feedback here from the community, from some of these watchers here, some of these viewers. Thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, and doing everything that you can do to keep us going, man. This is phenomenal. Drake and Brooklyn, I salute you and appreciate you for everything that you do, allowing me this platform to be an extension of the platform that we work on together. Also, shameless plug, we have a recording coming up actually on July 24th of this year, 2020. Take a look out, keep a lookout and eye out for that. Once more details are available, we'll post it to you for sure. It'll definitely be on the Facebook page. That is definitely for sure. I really hope y'all enjoying taking notes with the Bearded One. It's awesome. It's phenomenal. Get an opportunity to spread my wings a little bit. Other than the weekly one-off, which I'm due for next week. Where you up, brother? Which I'm due for next week, and I drop one of those. Oh, also in the meantime, in between time, I'm giving y'all a little bit of radio insider. Haha. I may be doing a double header on the last week of July. Because your boy has a milestone birthday coming up. I'll be turning 40 on August 3rd. Yes. So I'll be taking that week off. I'm not doing anything podcast related or work related for that business. Sorry, Dre. Can't book nobody that. No, I'm teasing. Something comes up for the podcast. We there for you. I can do that from anywhere. So we're good. We can do that. But yeah, I'm definitely game for any type of interview or interaction during that week. But outside of that, in terms of a personal work, I'm taking that week off. I'll be far too faded to do anything. The goal is to be drunk and partake of relief. Right. It's funny. I just got some ESPN updates that take me to my next league. To take me to my next league, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls of the community. We're gonna talk sports, but I should actually have my smile because we're gonna talk sports and we're gonna talk about the Washington football team. I'm not gonna use the old name because the name is being changed, and I have respect for that. And I'll leave that at that because I talked about that on the last taking notes. You need to go back, take a look. It was funny. I had fucking fun. I'll do it again. But anyway, there's some serious stuff going on in the nation's capital in terms of their sports football team. Several allegations of sexual harassment and workplace harassment towards especially female employees came to light within the last week. A couple of the minority owners of the team are trying to find buyers and investors to sell their stake and share in the Washington football team, Washington franchise. how does that make me feel? Um, I mean, let's just not tolerate it. First, let me start by saying that the information that if you want to take a look at some of the articles, it's on WashingtonPost.com. It's basically it's something along the lines like for women in sports media, dealing with toxic masculinity is far from new, something along those lines. This is all memory. I call taking notes. I don't have any notes, nothing written down around me. It's all off the top of my dome. I only had one open tab other than the live stream, and that was my soundbite from the mechanic interview, which I played in a second anyway, so I don't need it any longer. But nonetheless, uh, yeah, I mean that's some serious shit. That's some serious shit. I mean, you got people like 4 or 5 in the office who's definitely had his bout with um, sexual harassment and bullying allegations in the past. I mean, we saw him on TV with the apprentice and how much of a dickhead he was there. He wasn't acting. That was fucking him. You see that now. Um, if you didn't know then, you know now, basically. So how that makes me feel in terms of everything that's going on right now with the climate of the country, social injustices, um, coronavirus, just every fucking thing that's going on right now. Like I can't. There's no place for that. That further makes me a little. It makes my decision to not want to follow that team with as much vigor or at all a lot easier. Um, because it's not something I can support and stand behind. I mean, I have daughters. I have daughters. I legitimately just said, something about black love and perception of reality and how, I fucked up in the past and I've done fucked up things, they fucked up things, and he's been a fucked up dude. I mean, I think about, that type of dude, taking one of my daughters out one day. That shit scares me. That shit scares me because that heartbreak is a whole nother ballgame. But anyway, there's no room for that. I can't get behind that. I can't support it. I mean, this is something that I have loved for the majority of my life, sports wise. And the more and more shit that comes out of the Washington football franchise part, and that's bad news and bad information, it makes it that much easier. Um, I had started divesting my, fandom from them maybe 3 years ago. It's a poor product to, look at and watch. It's a bad thing to watch. So about 2, 3 years ago, I started just not paying as much attention to them. I checked the standings, see where they were. Well, okay, below 500. What else is new? Um, and that's kind of how I took that team on. Um, so I mean, with everything that's going on in the country, that shit just dropped. Like, ah, it pissed me off, and B, it made me so uncomfortable, it made me so uneasy. Like, because I feel like guilty by association, basically. Like, this is a team that I follow and support, and love, and invest money and time and energy, and then some of that shit comes out. I mean, I don't know. Like, is this that's kind of where I am on that part aspect of sports. But I want y'all to check that article out again. It's on WashingtonPost.com. Something along the lines. It's in the sports section. It was printed July 19th, 2020. It's something along the lines like for women in sports, dealing with toxic masculinity is far from new or far from something to do with far from new to deal with something like that along the lines. I'm misquoting the article, but if you want to take a look at it, I suggest you do. It's a good read. It's a rather lengthy read, but it's a good read nonetheless. It's a good read nonetheless. It definitely um, if you have a heart, which I know the community does, um, you'll feel a little incense just with some of the allegations. The actual report is a whole different article. I did not venture to open that for the simple fact that it's one of those I don't want to know. I mean, I know because some of the victims have come forward and given their names, not shying away from the camera and that kind of thing. So they that's that's easy to find and look up, but I just don't want to know more information. I don't want to know details. Allegations are enough, and then the fact that a lot of these people came forward and there were some that actually disclosed their entire being um, lets me know that some shit about to hit the fan. Like, yeah, I'm staying clear of those gnarly details. I want no part of that at all. Just from an emotional standpoint, I don't think I have the heart to do that. I make sure my connection is still good. These, let's see. All right, community. So I went over a few things. Um, went over the Nick Cannon ordeal. Went over Black Love, Perception versus Reality. Missed it. I suggest after I end the stream, you go back and rewind it, and you listen to me for a good, 40 minutes, just talking to you guys, reaching out to the community. I had a few comments that I read back, so you guys will definitely have an opportunity to see my take on a few things, kind of queue up a few things for after when I go live. I'm good to go, that kind of thing. I will be coming to you guys live next week. I have not decided if I'm going to do it Monday or Tuesday. Monday will be July 27th, 2020, or Tuesday, which will be July 28th, 2020. It'll be around this time, dinner time, between 6:35, 7 o'clock. Usually when I like to get started, so you guys can sit down and have something to debate around the dinner table after I'm finished flapping my gums for about 35 to 45 minutes. Um, Next week, I have no clue what I'm going to talk about next week. Actually, I do. I'm just not going to tell y'all. That's have to tune in. That's the goal. Um, yeah, 'cause that's how I roll. That's how it's supposed to be, unscripted. I don't take notes. It's called taking notes. I have no notes to take. It's for you guys to take notes. Once you do some fact checking, I want you guys to check out those articles, check out those sound bites. The sound bite I got was from Nick Cannon. It's called Cannon's Class. It was just type it in the YouTube search bar. It's real easy to find. Nick Cannon full interview with Professor Griff. It should pop up. It's an hour and a half. The whole interview is an hour and a half. 129 and some change. That's the right one. No one else is talking through it. It's just them. They're kind of just doing what they do. And in the infamous words of Joel Santana, don't watch me. Well, of course, I want y'all to watch me, but don't watch me. Watch TV. This your boy, the Bearded Wonder, and you've been taking notes. Peace.